The more I hear, the more fascinated I am. What in the world is it about our intrigue with monarch butterflies?
Well, you know, the monarch butterfly is an iconic species. It's kind of like bluebirds and bald eagles and those kind of things. You can't really ascribe an economic impact to them, but people love them. You know, monarch butterflies are the second most popular insect in North America, with honeybees being the most popular.
Wow.
And so, you know, it's right up there, and that's why people love it.
Sure. So tell me what I don't know about keeping them happy, helping their numbers thrive. Everybody talks about the pollinators, the bees. Are we in the same dire situation with our monarchs?
It's a different situation. It's not an economic concern like it is with honeybees, but with the monarchs, we're in kind of the same situation because they're losing habitat. They're losing the milkweeds that they require for reproduction. They will only lay eggs on milkweed plants. And so, you know, that's developed over the eons, and it's a protection mechanism for the monarch. So in order to improve the populations of monarchs, one of the ways we do that is to increase the population of milkweed so they have more opportunity to lay eggs.
Okay, here's the other thing I didn't realize. On my farm, I saw one kind of milkweed. You tell me there's a whole bunch of milkweed.
There are probably 100 or maybe 110 species of milkweed in North America. Now, not all of them are utilized by monarchs. They could be, but there aren't enough of those milkweeds to make much difference. The one that's really important is common milkweed because it's spread all over the place, and there's plenty of milkweeds if we increase the population for the monarchs to lay eggs on. Now, they also lay eggs on swamp milkweed. They'll lay eggs on butterfly milkweed. That's the one with a really bright orange flower. Green milkweed is a big one in the southern region, Texas, Oklahoma. One called world milkweed that's also utilized. But we do know that almost 90% of the monarchs grow up on common milkweed.
So now the other thing I didn't realize is my butterflies in Wisconsin are, what'd you say, fourth generation? Tell me how they move around.
They would be third or fourth generation, probably fourth generation. They start in February or early March, leaving Mexico where they roost over winter. They'll move up through Texas and Oklahoma, and that's where the first generation is developed, in the southern part of the country. And they continue to move up. The new butterflies that are established will move up further. They will develop the next generation. They continue to move up until northern Canada. And about the end of August, mid to the end of August, something happens, we don't know what, that tells those monarchs, hey, it was time to go south. Probably the approach of winter. It probably has something to do with day length. We really don't know. But about that time, then they all start back south. And that last population that's developed up in Wisconsin, northern Canada, are the ones that go back to Mexico and roost in the pine trees.
So I'm just curious now, Doctor. I'm fine with growing the milkweeds, but that sounds like it's only one process in their life. How do we give them enough food and energy to truck it from Wisconsin back to Mexico?
That is a really great question, and it's an important question because it's not just milkweed, but it's other nectar-producing plants, other blooms that they can use for energy. They got to have food. They got to have food both going north and going south. So we need those nectar-producing plants all along the flyway, going both ways.
And so I'm guessing just because of our ingrained sense of keep it clean, mow it down, back it off, that's really been kind of the downfall of the milkweed and in turn our butterflies.
It certainly has. You know, we've done a really good job of controlling milkweeds in our croplands, which we should.
Yeah.
But we've also done probably a lot of mowing in some of those non-crop areas that we didn't necessarily need to do as early.
Yep.
Because mowing is okay as long as the monarchs have already left to go back south.
Okay.
And so, because mowing will not negatively impact the milkweed population, but if you mow it while the monarchs are still there, it will definitely negatively influence them.
Milkweed, a pretty tough plant. I can't believe I'm asking you this question. I never pondered if milkweed is a tough plant.
Once it gets started, it can be pretty tough. You know, it's a perennial. It reproduces from roots and from seeds. Most of the reproduction that we're talking about is from root stocks, you know, plants that come up from the roots of the old plants. It's a pretty tough plant. It'll take care of itself once you get it established.
Doctor, did you ever imagine all that work that you did would elevate you back into the spotlight like it does?
Not in a million years.
Do you like it, though?
I love it. I love it. This is using weed biology information to bring to bear on an important issue for the public.
Are you a little surprised to see the populations that are ready to mobilize? I said to you, I got a 9-year-old nephew that's going to hang on this conversation.
You know, I'm really not surprised if you think about how important the monarch is. It's a beautiful butterfly. People just love beautiful things. And so that's why so many people are interested.